This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally. Yes.
It's an absolute riot, and the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time.
What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Hello and welcome back, Criminal Mischief Nation. So I don't know what this is. It's not a bonus episode and it's not a regular episode. We were going to take this week off, vacations and busyness. But then, we told you we'd keep you updated on the trial going on in Boston. And there's some news. So here we are. Welcome back. Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Sorry to intrude on your vacation, but we needed to do this.
No, absolutely. We knew it was coming. Oh my God.
I know. I didn't know it was coming this quick, and I thought we'd actually have a verdict, but we do not. What we have is a mistrial, which Miss Reed's team is touting as a massive victory. Massive victory.
So hold on, before we get into it, for those who didn't listen to the bonus episode, please go back and listen to the bonus episode of what happened to John O'Keefe, and actually the episode itself.
Yeah, listen to what happened to John O'Keefe.
Right. Karen Reed is accused of killing her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, by hitting him with her SUV on January 29th, 2022. She denies any involvement and claims he was killed at a house party, a Boston police officer's house, and that there was a frame-up.
Yeah, right? Now if you listen to the main episode, and if you're a skeptical douchebag like I am, right away at first you'll think that she's guilty. You think that she did it. She made some crazy incriminating statements, leaving messages. I fucking hate you. Go, oh my God, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Like all of that. You're like, oh, okay, she did it. Woman scorned, hit and run. She was pissed off. But then the second half of the episode, you hear her side of it. And then you're like, all right, these cops are dirty and it stinks to high heaven. And that's also, I still believe that. All right, so it goes to trial. Now, here are some stats from it. All right. 29 days of testimony, 657 different exhibits marked as evidence, 74 different witnesses. So the jury had a lot to chew on.
A lot to do, and they did. They got the case on Tuesday, June 25th. On Friday, they go to the judge. They're like, hey, we can't do it. We can't come to an agreement. And the judge is like, go back and deliberate. Right.
That was part of the prosecution's initial plea to the judge, was that the jurors hadn't even allocated 1 hour per day of testimony to their deliberations. They hadn't even deliberated for 29 hours yet when they came back and said that they were hopelessly deadlocked. So what do you think? If you were a gambling lady, out of the 12 jurors,
Half
How
of
many?
them are
Because it only
men.
takes one. It only takes one.
Half of them are men and half of them are women. I think
Oh.
that in this case, I don't think that it comes down to gender.
Oh,
Honestly,
you
like I
don't?
feel like no, because I feel like look at us. You know, it's a very
Mhm.
small sample, but we're both kind of like I think it's like the if you look at the population, it's like mixed, you know, just the general population. You know, people either think she did it or they think that she didn't do it. You know?
Because it only, like I said, it only takes one person.
I think it's more than to answer your question, I think it's more than one person. I feel like
Okay.
it's like half and half.
You really think it's half and half? Wow.
I do.
Okay. Because I was gonna, I thought it was less than that, and Boston's a strange place. It's a beautiful town. I love it. I've been to Boston a bunch. I hate their sports teams, but in a sibling rivalry kind of way, right? You know, they're great sports fans. They're really smart. And it's a beautiful city, working class. They have the North End, some of the best Italian food you'll ever have in your life. And there's just a history of it. It's great. It's also a Democratic state. It's a blue state, but that elected Mitt Romney as their governor, which is weird. A guy who isn't even from the Northeast, right?
And a Republican.
And a
Right?
Republican, but you know, they're like, fuck it, he's what's good for us now. And so, you know, they won't be pigeonholed, is I guess is what the point I'm making. But they're also, man, their police up there, they're very proud of their police and their police department, you know.
Mhm.
And so if it's like a cross section of Boston on the jury, I would think that it would skew towards being in favor of O'Keefe's side, okay, being against Karen Reed.
That's why I
Right.
think it's half and half, because that there's a lot of police mistrust from the stuff that I was watching. I watched a lot of coverage of it and kind of what people were saying about it. She's got a lot of support. I think that they didn't make their case. You know,
Well,
the
obviously, that's that. I mean,
prosecution.
I think that all either they didn't make their case or the case just isn't there, you know, and they were kind of just like throwing anything they could at the wall to see what would stick. But like, you know, it'd only take one person to say, nope, I have a sincerely held belief that either one way or the other, and then it's a deadlock because it has to be a unanimous verdict.
But the
But so,
way that hold on a second, but
yeah,
here the jury came back. I got to read this quote because I think it's I think it's more than one juror. It says, despite our rigorous efforts, we continue to find ourselves at an impasse. Our perspectives on the evidence are starkly divided. I mean, that to me is not just one holdout. It just seems like
right.
I read that as, or maybe that's what I want to read it as. I don't know, but
So when there's a mistrial, they don't poll the jury when there's a mistrial.
I think they do. They just haven't yet. It just is so fresh and raw. They just
Gotcha.
announced it. And so it looks like the judge set July 22nd
Yep.
for the
As a
case to be back
status
in
hearing.
court. Right.
For
But
status
like
hearing.
my feeling is, how do you think Karen Reed is taking a mistrial? Like, oh my gosh.
Well, they're taking it as a huge victory, or at least that's how her side is spinning it. They're spinning it as a mass. What he said. Let me read his statement. Okay, folks, this is coming from Karen Reed's attorney. Folks, this is what it looks like when you bring false charges against an innocent person. Defense attorney Alan Jackson said. The Commonwealth, meaning the state of Boston, the Commonwealth of Boston, the Commonwealth did their worst. They brought the weight of the state based on spurious charges, based on compromised investigation and investigators and compromised witnesses. And this is what it looks like. And guess what? They failed. They failed miserably, and they'll continue to fail no matter how long it takes, no matter how long they keep trying. We will not stop fighting. We have no quit. So they're taking a victory lap and saying they didn't make their case, and screw it, and watch. Well, you keep setting them up, we'll keep knocking them down.
I know, but imagine that you're her, Karen Reed, right? You're thinking, okay, and imagine if she's innocent. Okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't know. She could be
Sure.
guilty. She could be innocent. We don't know. But just imagine that she's innocent. Like, she just went through this whole entire thing. And it's like, now, she's got to do it again. Like, who's going to pay for it? Who's going to, like, the Commonwealth has deep pockets. Like, they can do this,
Yeah, but they also have DAs who are in elected positions, and people don't like seeing money wasted,
But this kind of a case, yeah, I know. It's, and then just imagine John O'Keefe's family. If they imagine that she's guilty, it's like the family has to go through this again, and it's just really a really tragic case.
Well, what no one is saying, they're not doing the whole OJ thing, like, I'm going to go find the real killer, right? And it's not the defense's job, and unless they have an idea, unless they can, to prove their client's innocence by showing someone else is guilty, but they're not doing that. But if she didn't do it, then you got to start looking at the cops in that house party, the other people in that house party.
Well, I think that's what they want to do. I think they definitely pointed their finger in that direction. I mean,
oh yeah,
pointing the finger, like there's fireworks going off.
What I found interesting in this, did you read about the what do they call it? The dynamite charge?
Mm-mm.
Hold on. Because I'm reading local Boston papers here. So in Massachusetts jurisprudence, they have a jury instruction called the Tui Rodriguez charge.
Oh.
That was a precedent, which basically, if a jury is deadlocked, the judge says, go try again. If they come back again and they're like, yo, it's not happening, then they read this jury instruction that is almost forcing them to compromise, right? They're like relying on them to find their sense of civic duty. And it reads, our view is it's time for Tui Rodriguez, Your Honor. Yannetti, one of the attorneys, said. They've come back twice now indicating essentially they're hopelessly deadlocked. And so Tui Rodriguez charge essentially tells jurors there's no reason to believe that another jury would be better suited to decide the case. Right? Because
I think they did give them that directive.
They did. And then they still came back. They still came back deadlocked. They're saying, don't think you can just shrug this off and say, we'll mistrial here and another jury will come back. They're like, we don't really want to go through all this shit again. Right? Mm-hmm. So don't convince yourselves that it's the next guy's problem. Like, figure it out yourselves. Or that either the prosecution or defense would be able to offer clearer evidence in the event of a retrial. So basically the Tui Rodriguez charge tells them nothing's going to change. We're going to find an equally independent cross-section of the Boston populace to be seated as a jury. The evidence isn't going to change. The attorneys probably aren't going to fucking change. So it's either you guys or it's nobody. And they still went, then it's nobody because it ain't us.
Yeah. Right. So I think there was a lot of division, and it was more than one or two people. That's what I think because of that. Because go
ahead.
I just think that just the language that they're using doesn't mean like there's just one holdout that won't budge. It just seems like there's a lot of conflict going on there, and that people, to your point about one side totally on the cops, the other side totally on the fact that they think that corruption and that and that they didn't make their case.
I wonder what the main sticking points are. I'd love to be in that jury room. Damn it. I'd love to be in there. Wonder what the sticking points are. Like, what would you think?
I think everything we've talked about. They didn't, some of them could think that maybe she did it, but that they didn't do that Proctor guy. I mean, how do you recover from that detective?
Listen, because you could just say he's a Boston douchebag, or what they call it, he's a masshole. Okay, you could just say that, right? But
I don't think that covers it. I don't think that covers it.
Sure,
honestly,
but, it's if it's not quite a smoking gun, it's really, really bad for the prosecution.
It's really, really bad.
What's worse for the prosecution is just the metadata and the phones. Okay, the Google search that was done and the elevation change in one phone that they attribute to, he was in the car. Her phone was in the car too, dude, and the elevation didn't change in her phone. So
one part that I didn't add to that was that woman, Jennifer McCabe, I believe that's her name, She also dialed John O'Keefe's number multiple times, and it went to voicemail. And the defense postured it as that, were you looking for the phone? Like when when you can't find your phone and you're like, hey, because where's John O'Keefe?
Do you hear it? Do you hear it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, it just got to the point where it was just too much speculation. And I just kind of was like, all right, this is a one episode, but there's just too much, it's just not clean, and that's
but then
why
the other side would be saying, why would she instantly assume, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Why would she be saying that? That's hard to explain away also. The glass, the physical evidence, on the scene, it would have to be a pretty massive conspiracy. I'm not saying the cops are above it. I don't think cops are above anything, but it would be a pretty massive, because you would have to send someone to her house, break the taillight, bring it back, sprinkle it around the spot, throw some on the body, whatever, right? Not out of, shit. I tried to do dumb shit like that when I was a teenager. It never worked out for me.
What?
But, no, kidding.
Tried to incriminate other
people. You've never planted evidence. Sure, Carolyn, whatever. Okay.
What are you talking about? Leaving donut crumbs somewhere or licorice pieces somewhere? If you took somebody.
No, all right. If I ate the pizza, okay, and I leave the last bit of crust by my dog. So, the dog must have eaten it. That kind of shit. I drank all the vodka, but I filled it up with water. And 6 months later, when there's a party, everyone figures it out. My mom figured it out, right? I don't know. So we've all done shit like that.
I remember when I first got access to the internet. Of course, I was an adult, but I still had to learn a thing or two. Maybe not the best timing to send an email to someone after having a glass of wine or two. Which is all to say, I didn't grow up with the internet the way today's kids have. I'm Gen X, baby, and I am so grateful for that. But now, having 5 kids over the years with varying access to cell phones, it's always a battle to figure out what the right age is for a kid to get a cell phone, especially if all their friends have one. Because I've learned that you can't control what they're seeing on social media, the music or videos they're looking up, sometimes stumbling into inappropriate content by accident. It's unnerving to think about how a cell phone in a kid's hand could be like opening Pandora's box. Which is why I'm excited about Gab. Gab is the leader in safe smartphones and watches for kids, teens, and tweens. With no social media apps, no internet browser, and GPS tracking. Now, this may sound boring to your kid, but it's really not. Gab phones and watches are still tech kids actually want. There's unlimited talk and text, a clean music streaming app, and over 100 third-party apps that can be installed at parents' discretion. I want to stay connected with my youngest son, who's 10 years old, but I know he's not ready for a full-on cell phone. And so Gab allows both of us to be part of something bigger than ourselves, and here's how. First of all, my son didn't think he was going to get a cell phone until he was 14. And so he was really excited to get his Gab phone in the mail. And I love making him happy and giving him a little bit more responsibility. I genuinely feel better about letting him free range, knowing he can call me at any time. Gab is a real game changer for me and my son, and I can't recommend enough that you give Gab a try. And this is the absolute best time to check them out because right now, Gab is offering $25 off any device to new customers with no contract required. That's $25 off any Gab smartphone or smartwatch. Just go to gab.com/mischief. That's where you'll get the best deal. That's Gab, GABB.com/mischief. Gab.com/mischief.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso Virtuo Coffee Machines. Ready to enjoy the bold flavors of barista quality Nespresso iced coffee at home? Simply fill a glass with ice and press the brew button on your Virtuo Pop machine to enjoy rich double espressos roasted to stand up even when chilled. Refreshingly bold iced coffee. Refreshingly easy to make at home. Visit Nespresso.com to shop now.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at Friskies.com or visit your local store.
Wait a second. This is actually kind of funny. So my sister, she had these photographs. This is when I was in 6th grade and she's 3 years older. And it was with her and her friends, like doing just nothing. But my mom, she would not have wanted my mom to know that she had these photos. And so I found she taped them in her drawer underneath her desk. And I freaking found them. And I held that over her for like... for months. I'd be like, anytime she did anything, I'd be like, Mom? And my mom would come to the door and we'd look at each other and I'd be like, never mind.
That's so mean.
Believe me, she got me back tenfold, but I was like, that's pretty dastardly.
That's so mean. What's that, like extortion? Constant extortion?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so listen. So I'm not putting it above the Boston cops or any cops, really. I don't mean to be region specific or department specific. Human nature, evilness sometimes comes out. And you want to do some stuff. I've covered for friends who have fucked up before. Okay. Again, not to the level of this, but it would work. It would require a relatively grand conspiracy.
Totally. I completely agree.
But very doable on a stormy night when you're cops who know your way around evidence and stuff, so it's, and if they don't have enough to make their case, it doesn't look well for them. I mean, I wonder if there's an avenue for having the charges dismissed now. Her side's going to try on the 22nd
Absolutely.
at the status hearing. I'm sure they're going to make
or she would take a lesser charge of like leaving the scene and but I don't know, maybe because it's such a high profile case at this point, she's like, no way, I'm all in because.
Oh yeah. Her side won't let her plead it jack shit. No
Here's
way.
what I think. I actually think that she hit him. I really
really?
believe that yeah. I mean, because I feel like the simplest answer with this, but she did it on accident. I think she did it on accident. But I do think that there is a possibility that she could have been framed for it too. But like you said, it's such a huge conspiracy.
You think she's lying?
I think that she doesn't know. I think she might have been so intoxicated that she didn't know what she hit him on accident and then she left.
Her statement is, I watched him walk into the party. So you think that's a conscious lie that she's telling?
I don't know. Because I think that it would be really hard, to your point, all those things. The taillight. She'd said the taillight was broken before she started, when she went with those women. She had said something to them about her taillight being broken, or she thought she had hit something. I think. I'm just recalling this. I just feel like a conspiracy of this magnitude would be really hard to pull off. But I don't know. So I would vote not guilty based on the evidence that they didn't make their case. There's too much reasonable doubt. There's too much like malfeasance within the case, in my opinion.
Well, as attorney in my closing statements and afterwards, I would implore the judge in his jury instructions to say, if you find any statements made by a witness that you find to be untruthful, it's your duty to consider everything that they said untruthful. Okay,
Exactly.
so if you considered her to be lying about the fact that her testimony was, I watched when he got out of my car and I watched him enter the party and then I drove away.
Mm-hmm.
If you think she's lying about that, then she's guilty.
I don't know. I think there's too many things like back and forthing. Like you said, did I hit him? Did I hit him? Did I hit him? Like, how do you explain that?
I would explain it because I've been thinking about it. And again, I don't know the case as well as you.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, I admit it, I found it weird that when she realized he didn't come home, that the first place she didn't go to was the house where she saw him walk inside.
Right.
Okay. This is the last place I saw him go in and be safe. I'm going to go knock on the door and see if he's there. She didn't do that. She fucking drove around looking in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And like you said last week, you would have called the cops. Like I could hear that. I could hear you putting yourself in her shoes if your loved one was.
I would have, in this order. He's not answering his phone. All right, we tied one on last night. Maybe he broke his phone or it's in the toilet or he lost it or it got stolen, whatever. So I know where he went because I dropped him off there and I watched him walk inside. I'm going to that house first. I'm going to knock on the door. Yo, is O'Keefe here? Okay, if he's not, then I call the cops. Oh, you're a cop? Okay, he's missing. Where is he?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't do any of that. Now, there's a lot of variables. It was a contentious relationship. I fucking hate you and all this. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But then when they show up in the front yard, right, and it dawns on them that there's a body-shaped mound in the snow, and then she goes turning around. Was she saying, did I hit him? Did I hit him like just now? Did I hit like the frozen body?
She wasn't saying that because she wasn't driving. His friend was driving. It was her and two other.
Got it. So she was saying it was in the context for that. Did I hit him statement would have been last night when I dropped him off. Did I hit him and not realize it?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So then that completely calls into question her statement that I watched him walk inside. So.
I mean, I think again, this is another thought is that I could see being in a panic and just being like, oh my gosh, you just say stuff like your mom. You gave that
100%.
example last time.
Excited utterances.
What do I call? 911, Ma. 911.
I know. Excited utterances is a legal thing. That was an excited utterance. Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the only thing I could even equate this to is like when my firstborn was like 3, maybe like 4 years old. And we were at a store. I can remember it to this day. And she just went somewhere like it was like there was all these like rounders, with clothes.
Yeah.
And she was gone. And I immediately screamed for them to shut the gates, to have those things go down.
Wow. Panic mode.
And I mean, after I was looking for her and she was hiding in one of the rounders.
Oh, Jesus. I used to hide in there so many times. It was great.
I know. But the point is that in that terrifying like moment of, I don't know, you kind of lose yourself. Like I could see you saying things that don't even make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One of my best friends has needed his wisdom teeth out for a long time, but he's waiting for his wife to go on vacation. So I could be the one to pick him up after surgery because he's afraid if it's his wife that picks him up and he's all doped up, then he's going to admit that he wants to have sex with her sister. He can't trust himself to not say it when he's doped up. So he's waiting for her to be out of town to get the surgery. So, hey, he's being honest with himself. He loves his wife. He doesn't want to cause any issues. He can't help that he thinks his wife's sister's cute. He can't help it. But what he doesn't want to have to do is admit it.
Dudes are so weird.
I know. Listen, I get it. It's super weird because It would be a drug-induced excited utterance that could cause a lot of problems in a good marriage.
How did he, when he told you that, what did you do? What did you say
That's
to
a smart
him?
move, man. That's a smart move. I'll be there for you as soon as she's out of town. I'll be there. And I promise I won't video it. Because people video that shit and post it of people saying stupid things when they're coming out of anesthesia. And he's worried about what he'll say. I don't blame him. I know. I don't blame him. So I'll be there for my friend.
He's really thinking about her hardcore.
He might be. He might be.
That's what he's worried about, Brandon. I mean,
yeah, I think he's worried that it'll come out, you know? I think it's hilarious. Yeah. I think it's hilarious. And I think it's really funny. And I'm not judging him for it. I'm like, okay, I appreciate your honesty.
I know you know what though? I mean, that's human nature is so weird that I mean, I'm just kind of blown over by that story. Like what people are hiding in their minds. You know?
I know. That's right. No, listen, that's what happened when my dad just got out of rehab. He was there for 3 months. All right. After he had a really bad seizure and it completely just systemic shutdown. And he was just diagnosed. He had 3 weeks of seizure-induced amnesia, right? Where he has a complete blank spot for 3 weeks, all right? And I didn't know, and my brothers didn't know. And so we're just getting these calls from him. We have no idea what's going on. He's saying stuff like, I didn't kill that woman no matter what they tell you. We're like, oh, no. What is going on? Is this like some weird Vietnam stuff that's just coming out now because he's all messed up? Like we had no idea what the deal was. And he doesn't even remember it. And I want to bring it up with him. I'm like, hey, Pop, what were you talking about? All of that I didn't murder that girl stuff, because that's kind of weird. But then he had the TV on in his room the whole time, and like it was on Law and Order, like always. So who knows? Because then he told me that he was having a recurring nightmare that he was on trial for something. So I start connecting the dots with the TV show that was on in his room the whole time. So, or he's got some massive skeletons in the closet.
I was like saying you get a good defense attorney for your dad,
right? It could be. Like, it could go either way. The man has traveled the world. He's been tons of places, and who knows? But I'm happy now that he's healthy and that he's in a good spot. So, but you never know.
I think to wrap this up, I think that, you know, my heart goes out to the O'Keefe family. You know, I really, and I know they're going to try her again, and I'm sure the jury will come to the second jury will come to the same conclusion unless they are able to present a case that doesn't have all these gaping holes in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, to your point, regardless of how it goes, by all accounts, and I don't know the whole man's life, John O'Keefe is an innocent murder victim here. Okay. Yeah. One way or the other. And so, yes, and that is a tragedy, and we should make a point of saying that. And it's an unenviable task that the jury finds themselves in, because they don't want to fuck it up and have another innocent victim, you know?
Yeah. You just cut out for a second. What did you say?
I said it's an unenviable task that the jury has, because given that we already have one innocent murder victim, I'm sure that they don't want there to be another victim of the system. They want to make sure they get it right, you know? And what you always say, you granola tree hugging liberal up there, you know, better to have, 9 guilty people go free than to imprison one innocent person. I'm like, okay,
that's
fine.
the thing that I always butcher. You're right. That's exactly.
You have a t-shirt. I've seen you wear a t-shirt with that long thing written on it. Okay. Yeah. You granola.
Well, you know what? Because
you're getting your Subaru and your Birkenstocks.
You have to put, oh my gosh, you would have just been like totally repulsed. I was almost late because I was in my kayak and I had my son towing my son behind me on a ring. And I noticed this honeybee. I didn't know what it was, but it was something swirling around in the lake. And it just kept swirling. I'm like, what is that? So I oar over.
Let me put down my trail mix. Hold on.
No. It was a honeybee. And my son and I were trying to get it because it had this will to live. I'm not kidding you. It was like creating this whirlpool. And we almost
save it?
We did. We saved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's important. That's good. It's good.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right. Well, hey, listen, this was a great drop in. This was a really interesting, I guess it's an outcome. It's not the end by any means, unfortunately, for justice and for everybody involved. But it's a really interesting kind of examination of, American jurisprudence and how things can go right and how things can go wrong, and how sometimes a jury of our peers just don't agree on shit. And I guess that's the system working,
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, hey, thank you for listening, everybody. And as things come up, as promised, we will. So this is 2 cases we're following. I'm following Gilgo Beach and Karen Reed.
Yep.
So we'll keep things going as they come in. So yeah, we will definitely keep you posted. So thank you for listening, and we hope you have a good rest of the week. And we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming next week. Anything you'd like to add, Carolyn?
Nope. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Great. Thanks. Until then, stay safe out there, everybody. Bye now.
From Cloud 10, Criminal Mischief is a pie-in-the-sky production recorded in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself. Music by Soundstripe. I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host.